the waste from their illegal mining into our rivers. Nobody has given them permission to do that. Nobody has given them a concession in a water body or in a forest reserve for that matter. What they are doing is illegal. It's illegal. It requires literally no proof. So why is it hard to deal with it? Why is it happening to the point where they've rendered our water bodies useless? And when I say useless, that's what the scientists are telling us. Okay, we heard the former head of the Water Resources Commission telling us that right now the turbidity of our water in all our rivers are high beyond the point of usefulness. A nation with useless rivers, and we are infecting our neighbors. We're killing ourselves and infecting our neighbors. Let's bring in our guests. Antwi-Boasiako is a citizen. He wants to be described only as such. Kwame Asiedu is a pharmacist. He's a fellow at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development. That's CDD Ghana. He joins us via Zoom. Gentlemen, if you can hear us, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So perhaps I'll start with you, Kwaku. I think after over a week since Erastus's report came out, and a company was clearly identified to be mining illegally in a forest reserve, there has been no action. Safe to say, our government is incapable of dealing with galamsey?
Kojo, we have leaders without leadership. We have a government that cannot provide governance as we understand it. The president said he was putting his presidency on the line to fight galamsey. Okay, how many years now since 2017? What's the situation on the ground? From everything we've heard, the situation is worse. Our water bodies have become, as you described, dead.
What are your thoughts?
Well, yes, good morning. I agree with Kweku to an extent that from a constitutional standpoint, he hasn't exhausted all the tools in his armory. At least we still have a police, we still have the army, we still have the courts, we still have the attorney general, we still have the OSP. The question then becomes, is there the political will? Because if you listen to Kweku, one thing the two of us have been discussing privately is the fact that how on earth can say me, Kwame, sit in the UK, and I can pinpoint accurately using Google Maps when I put it in satellite mode the discharge of the Pra River, the Ankobra River, into the sea, and basically the contamination of our not just our freshwater fish, but our marine fish as well, and our marine products, only to appear on our table. I can pinpoint it live. But I hear a minister who tells me he is not aware that there is mining going on in a mineral reserve, in a forest reserve, because a commission that is under his ministry has said they haven't issued a license. Last I checked, most of our ministers have either Android or iPhones. Couldn't he have at least done what we all do to accurately pinpoint that forest reserve and check with his own eyes what he saw? This doesn't require national security. This doesn't require BNI. This requires the person's personal will to act. And that is what the likes of Erastus have done. That's what people like me have done. And we've posted pictures on social media. When we've done, we've said, don't just take our word for it. Like Esankoma was the one who started it. This is what you do step by step, and you can see for yourself in live mode what's happening. So, though I agree with Kweku, the question is the president and his acolytes in the executive, are they willing to act? And I tell you what, my answer is no, sadly, Kojo. And I'll tell you why my answer is no. Yesterday, there was a release while I was listening to one of your programs in the evening, which said that what is being bandied around by Akonta mining as permits to mine in those reserves do not actually apply to those reserves. They don't. And it was read live on air. Yet, the person is walking around. We've got institutions who are clothed with the power to act, arrest, investigate, and prosecute. And what do? They turn themselves into institutions that issue counter statements and notices to someone who is deceiving the general public. I mean, is that what we call democracy? Is this how bad it can get? And that is why when I think along these lines, I tend to agree with those who disagree with Kweku as well, that the president can't. Because the man told us he had put his presidency on the line. He had put his presidency on the line. And when you put your presidency on the line, I read a bit, if it was Japan, and someone said he had put his integrity on the line, he jumps off a bridge because he's lost face. If it's in China, you know what happens. If it's in South Korea, we know what happens. But when it's in Ghana, we get a president who explains his actions away. That is the difference. And that is why I think, though we would continue advising, like Kweko said, and Occupy Ghana and others have issued notices for a state of emergency to be delivered, I doubt if the Nanado some of us believed in prior to 2016 and some of us voted for, it's clothed with a political will to actually act. I'll be surprised if he does. I don't think even his attorney general, I don't think any of his acolytes, because all of them are custodians of our laws, but none of them have acted. Why, oh why, someone tell me, should Chairman Wontumi be sleeping in his own bed when people cannot afford dialysis? Why, oh why, someone tell me, when forests that my father left Canada to come and protect throughout his entire professional life, forests that I have lived in Samraboy when Dr. Kwenu was living there, should be bastardized and degenerated to this point that someone is sleeping in his bed. Sometimes I look at these things and I tell myself, the only people who are interested in doing anything are those who are interested in chasing the weaklings. Those who actually have to pay the price for our failure as a country have bought those who have to jail them. And therefore, unless you and I decide to hit the streets, and Kojo, you've always spoken to me privately, you know, I have been very, very measured in civil actions because I know sometimes they can get out of place. But you know what? If the society doesn't act, we face an existential threat.
Okay.
Our leaders in whom we've cloaked power cannot and would not act. They would rather scheme to block SIM cards and arrest people for Facebook posts than arrest the people who are actually destroying our environment, our inability to capture carbon. They would arrest the others, but leave these ones. And so the only option left to us, Kojo, is for us to hit the streets.
Now, Kwame, you say that you'll be surprised if the president acts, an indication that you believe the president cannot act. Where's that conviction from? Why do you think the president would not act?
Winston, I've given you so many examples. Why is Antwi-Boasiako sleeping in his bed? In any sane society, that man should not be in charge of the regional destiny of any party clothed with leading this country. And yes, I said it. He attends meetings at party level, sometimes at which the president is present. We know. Everyone knows his house. Like I said yesterday, a counter notice was issued to something he's bandying around, saying that he has broken the law. Do we have police in this country? Do we have national security? At the end of the day, the power that as citizens we have, we vest at the ballot box in an executive leader. If such a person is walking around, then my conclusion is that that executive leader cannot act. And that is where my conviction comes from. And I have that conviction with the last bone in my spine. That this president, when it comes to galamsey, has become spineless. He must prove me wrong.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's a state of emergency. Kwaku, Antwi-Boasiako, yes, you're hopeful that the president has some remedies. But there are those who are thinking that at this point, it's really up to us, the citizens, that we're the last hope of this country. If that's true, what can we do?
Okay, could you? We can hit the street for sure, and I agree with Kwame that citizen action
Kojo, you see, I agree and disagree with Kweku in the sense that demonstration is not aimed at targeting those in the areas. Demonstration is aimed at the executive arm to force them to act in a way that would protect us all. Because, strictly speaking, the people who live in these areas, some of them have become even complicit in the illegal mining to the extent that we saw what was happening in Asamantanfo and all that. You have factions pegged against each other and are willing to even shoot against each other. In that sense, yes, I agree with what do you call it, Kweku? Because when you have people raising arms to actually threaten our existence, what we saw from the miners firing and all that is saying that we do not care what you think. We do not care about your environment. All we care about is our actions. And whether you die or not, we even have guns to protect you. That for me is declaring war on the country. If that happens, then yes, certain measures of a state of emergency are totally acceptable. And I agree with that entirely. What I worry about is the ability, as we have seen in this galamsey fight, for the very institutions of state to be corrupted and co-opted. We saw it live on Erasmus' video where a soldier makes a phone call and the people who are trying to film for us to see were virtually manhandled and only left with the skin of their teeth. So we need very, very drastic actions. But I'll end by saying this. In going through the state of emergency and doing the things Kwaku is talking about, we need to intensify our education as well. I don't think the people who live in these galamsey areas have the full gravitas of the extent of the health implications on themselves. I was watching Erasmus' thing and I was cringing. The guy who was fishing on the Pra, Jesus Christ, taking out those fishes to sell to other people, that's transfer of poisoning through the community. You see, when desperate situations arise because the people cannot eat, they even forget that what they're actually catching and selling is actually compounding the problem. That tells me that there's an educational deficit in the whole fight because survival has been prioritized to health and education. And that needs to stop. So it needs to be a full assault: health, education, political will, state of emergency, and a war. If we get those 5 things together, I think we can sort this out.
I want to thank you both, Kweku Antwi-Boasiako, a citizen of Ghana, and Kwame Asiedu, pharmacist and fellow at CDD. And in fact, I told you that you would love to hear what they both have to say, and I know I was right. Thank you both for your time with us this morning. So, Churchill, I don't know. I mean, we have this interesting position as journalists where we are called upon to be, some people expect us to be neutral. Well, we can't be neutral on galamsey.
No,
we take a side. On this one, we take a side. We are biased on galamsey. We want it to stop because it's killing us and killing the future of our children. If this is one demonstration I would call for, because we have to make the president want to act. Yeah. At this point, he doesn't demonstrate that he wants to act. He said he put his presidency on the line. Well, now, one of his own colleagues in his political party owns a company that is responsible for galamsey. So, Mr. President, what are you going to do? Your presidency is still on the line. So I think it's about time. As for this hitting of the streets, I support it in a fully biased manner. Winston.
Well, Kojo, are you sinking in your bed? Is your mattress failing to give you the safety and comfort you deserve? Get yourself a Royal mattress which guarantees you the good sleep and relaxation you deserve today. And as pace setters, we've attached pillows to the mattresses you buy for free. Get this offer in all our showrooms and sales outlets across the country. Don't be left out. Royal Foam wishes to say a big thank you to all of you, our loyal customers, for making us win the Silver Award at the 12th Ghana Business and Financial Services Excellence Awards. Please call us on 020 227 1000 for enquiries. 020 227 1000 for enquiries. Royal Foam, rest assured.
All right, now the Ministry of Education, through the National Teaching Council, presents Ghana Teacher Prize 2022 on the theme, The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers. The guest of honor is the president, and the most outstanding teacher goes home with a 3-bedroom apartment. First runner-up will get a 4x4 pickup, and the second gets a saloon car. The best teacher in leadership and administration gets a saloon car. Best non-teaching staff also gets a saloon car. Activities include a 2-day symposium on the 3rd and 4th, that's today and tomorrow, at Modern City Hotel in Tamale from 9 a.m. And a Grand Durbar on Wednesday, the 5th of October, at exactly 9 a.m. It'll happen live at the University for Development Studies Multipurpose Hall in Tamale. Media partner is Multimedia Group Limited, and this event will be telecast on the 5th of October on Joy News between 9:30 and noon.
Well, Kojo, when we return after these messages, we're joined by Akosua Obeng-Mensah, who'll be telling us more about the Green Building Challenge.
Exciting stuff. Stay